The movie I Am Not a Serial Killer is one good film. It is based off of a book of the same title by Dan Wells that was published in 2009. The movie mainly stars Max Records and Christopher Lloyd and was directed by Billy O'Brien. The acting is wonderful, the story is fantastic, the themes are deep, and the atmosphere is amazingly creepy and real. I absolutely love this film. This is an indie film that has that indie feeling. Nevertheless, it accomplishes quality storytelling. It is entertaining and gets you to think about deep things, such as what it would be like to be a sociopath while dealing with difficult and triggering trials, doing bad to accomplish good, and good versus evil in general. The movie tells the story of teenage John Cleaver. John lives with his mom in the typical Midwestern town Clayton. John is struggling with growing up and life in general as he is diagnosed as a sociopath. John has an obsession with death, murder, and serial killers. In fact, John has all three symptoms of the McDonald triad, which some consider a predictor of an individual becoming a homicidal predator in the future. The McDonald triad includes animal cruelty, an interest in fire, and persistent bedwetting past the age of 5. It doesn't help John that he helps his mom and aunt at the family morgue, where they are constantly dealing with dead bodies. In the town of Clayton, there is a killer on the loose. With each dead body that turns up, there is a different organ missing from the last. John is of course interested in figuring out who the murderer is, and after he scouts around for a bit, he notices a weirdo who has been wandering around town. John has a good relationship with his elderly neighbor Mr. Crowley. Sometimes John helps him out. He is a sweet and harmless old man, so when he sees the weirdo invite himself to go ice fishing with him, John follows them to see what will happen. I can't tell if John is at all worried about Mr. Crowley's safety, as he is a sociopath and lacks much empathy. All that we do see is John following the two out to where they go fishing on the frozen river. John spies on them through the trees, and then he sees it. Right as the weirdo man lifts his knife to stab Mr. Crowley in the back, Mr. Crowley quickly turns, and a supernatural spike shoots out of his hand, impelling the weirdo right through his chest. We are not dealing with any typical serial killer here. This is a supernatural adversary now. John doesn't bother calling the authorities because he saw Mr. Crowley kill 2 cops with ease after John led the cops over to Mr. Crowley shortly after he killed a barber. It is learned that Mr. Crowley's body is dying and he needs other people's organs to stay alive. Throughout the film, we see a type of cat and mouse game played between John and Mr. Crowley as John tries to learn more about the nature of Mr. Crowley and also strives to stop him. By the end of the movie, John and his mom team up and defeat Mr. Crowley when they suck the slimy demon creature out of the old man's body. What an epic, disgusting, tragic end to Mr. Crowley. John's mind is different from the average adolescent male. He lacks empathy, is very antisocial, and sometimes when someone makes him annoyed or upset, he thinks about killing them. He talks to his therapist and works very hard to keep himself in check. He has a set of rules that he follows to keep him from doing anything bad.
What are you smiling about?
I've been clinically diagnosed with sociopathy, Rob. To me, you're an object. You know, you're a thing. You're about as important to me as a cardboard box. And the thing about cardboard boxes is that, you know, they're totally boring on the outside, right? But sometimes if you cut them open, there'll be something interesting inside. You know, and so while you're saying all these boring things to me, I'm thinking about what it'd be like to cut you open. But I don't want to be that person. And so I have a rule that anytime somebody says something to me where I think about, you know, cutting them, I just smile and I say something nice. So that's why I say to you, Rob Anders of 232 Carnation Street, you are a really great guy.
Please keep following your rules, John. According to information given from Rashtriya Raksha University, some traits of a sociopath are lack of respect for social norms or laws, dishonesty, lack of long-term planning, aggressive, lack of care for their own safety and the safety of others, lack of care for their professional and personal responsibilities, lack of feeling guilt or remorse. The film portrays John having these traits, but not quite all of them. Some of the traits we do see in John is the lack of respect for social norms and even laws, his aggressive behavior, perhaps a little bit of his lack of care for the safety of himself and even others, and his definite lack of feeling guilt and remorse, especially towards the beginning of the film. We feel the suspense build throughout the story as John gets closer and closer to going off the deep end. The irony of it is that he is trying to stop the evil, but as he is getting closer and closer to the darkness, he risks becoming the very evil he is trying to stop. We can try to imagine what it would be like to be John in his difficult situations, but we will never truly understand exactly how he feels, just like we can't truly understand what it is like to be anyone else besides ourselves. When one imagines a sociopath, they often think of people like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy, not average people. Well, experts estimate that approximately 1%, perhaps more, of the population are sociopaths. That means for every 100 people you interact with, you have interacted with at least one sociopath. Only sociopaths know what it is like to be a sociopath and the struggles of dealing with this disorder. Patrick Gagney is a therapist who is a real-life sociopath. This is what she says on what it's like to be a sociopath. Socio-emotions are learned emotions. Babies don't just automatically feel remorse from the womb. When a kid knocks down block towers, you say, "Hey, that might make someone feel sad." A neurotypical child will get that and start feeling shame or guilt. A neurodivergent kid may still feel ambivalent. My mom would say, "Well, you don't want people to feel sad, do you?" And I was like, "Well, what does that matter?" I couldn't conceptualize those traditional socialization lessons until I was much older. People are all different, and sometimes they are even more different from the average. Instead of being critical of others, you should always extend a hand of love and understanding. Talk to them instead of putting up walls between them and you. As John is working on getting closer to Mr. Crowley so he can learn more, Mr. Crowley shares a poem and some interesting things about that poem.
On what wings dare he aspire?
What?
What the hand dare seize the fire? Just a poem. Tighter, tighter, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? The poet is asking the tiger who made him and how. William Blake, he wrote 2 poems like that. The Lamb and the Tiger. One was made of sweetness and love, and one was forged from terror and death. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the Lamb make thee?
Let's take a deeper look into these 2 poems which Mr. Crowley talks about. The poet is William Blake. He first wrote the poem, The Lamb, which talks about how God made such a lovely creature, so lovely in fact that God himself is called a lamb. A few years later, he wrote The Tiger, which is similar to the Lamb poem, but instead of it being a sweet creature, it is a monster. Obviously, Mr. Crowley is the tiger. He is some sort of monster in sheep's clothing, or should it be said, in lamb's clothing. From this scene, you get a sense that Mr. Crowley is sad that he is what he is. Throughout the film, we see how much Mr. Crowley loves his wife, Mrs. K. Crowley. That's why he's killing all these people to stay alive. He just wants to stay by his wife's side for as long as possible. There is another scene that I would like to note. On Christmas, John and his family are opening up Christmas presents. John is reading a note from his far-off dad. John's dad has a nickname for John. We hear it as John is reading the note. It is Tiger. Here in this moment where Mr. Crowley is talking about the poem, I strongly believe that John and Mr. Crowley are sharing a very similar feeling. Like Mr. Crowley, John is also the tiger. Why was he made this way? Why is he this monster? Life would be so much easier if he was like everyone else. It's not fair. It's one of life's oldest questions. Why are we forced to have the problems we have? Why is life so unfair? If you believe that you were created by a God, then the question is, why would God make me this way? If he is truly all-powerful, then why would he make me with all these problems? Of course, there are good answers to these hard questions, both religious and secular, but when it's all said and done, it's still heartbreaking. Things are still endlessly unfair. After John and his mom work together to kill the monster, the story ends happily, but also at the same time very tragic. There's been so many people killed, including one of John's friend's dad, John's therapist who he has actually grown pretty close to, and of course Mr. Crowley. Honestly, I feel terrible for the monster. I'm not justifying his actions, but it is clear that throughout the story he was suffering. You should also understand that the monster represents John in many ways. There was an interesting moment where John asks Mr. Crowley over the phone,
Does it hurt?
and Mr. Crowley responds with,
It hurts like hell.
This question wasn't to learn more about how the monster works. No, this was John relating to the monster. Poor boy. Poor monster. With the tragic ending, we have these words from Mrs. K. Crowley that add more to the monster's character.
He had this lust for life. I set my sights on him after the first couple of weeks. One Sunday, we were having dinner at my parents' house with all my brothers and sisters and all their families, and Bill got up and left the table. I followed him out and found him in the kitchen, crying. He said, I never got it before now, Kay. And he told me he loved me more than anything in heaven or hell.
With all the heart-stretching at the end, we do have some victories. The monster is gone, so there are no more killings, and John has overcome some of his own internal demons. He knows he is strong enough to deal with his problems, and he at least feels a little more optimistic about the future. Though this is where the movie ends, it's not where the story does. John still has some more battles to fight. His sociopathy did not just magically poof away when they killed the monster, and it's not gonna. He is still the tiger, but now just a little more strong and in control. Like John, we all have our own issues. It is not the same as his, and it's not at all the same as your neighbor's. It's your own personal hell made perfectly for you. Now you have to figure it out and become stronger, or give up. I recommend that you work your way through it, and that you get help from others along with lending a hand to those in need as well. Do you feel like you're a lamb or a tiger? Why were you made this way? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burned the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare ye aspire? What the hand dare seize